Jack CARR checking in. It's time for another February reading list. But before I get to those books, I'm going to talk about some of this stuff in front of me here, starting with these. Check these out. Amazing boxing gloves with the Jack CARR symbol, strength and honor, American flag. Thank you guys from Hayubasa. Kevin, this is awesome. It might get me back in the boxing gym. It's been a little while, so incredible. Thank you guys so much. Just super cool. Jeez. What else do we have going on here? Well, I talked a little bit last time about this Colt 1911 that Larry Vickers made for me, and I had the old VZ grips on before, and I replaced them with the new Vickers signature grips that are in this brown wood color here. Awesome. These looks legit. So VZ, thank you guys so much for sending these over. Amazing. And put a couple other things in that box as well, which was pretty cool. Bottle opener. This will get some good use. Thank you. You must have been talking to Larry about me. And then this thing. Look at that. Oh, that thing is mean. VZ, thank you guys. Much appreciated. What else do I have here? So I get a lot of questions about what kind of gear I use and what I carry on a daily basis. So the SIG P365, this has been my daily carry for a while now, and I absolutely love this. So Black Point Tactical, they make amazing holsters. My favorite is their mini wing. I have one for just about every pistol in my collection, and these things are awesome. So bam, this is Black Point Tactical and their mini wing holster. So highly recommend those. All right, February reading list. So The Charm School, I read this in the mid 80s. Nelson DeMille, absolutely incredible novel. I haven't read it since because it was so magical for me to read this back then. I don't want to ruin it by time on earth, you know what I mean? So, but if you haven't read this, pick it up, give it a read. Everything Nelson DeMille does is absolutely fantastic, and read it in the context of when it was written in the near the end of the Cold War. So this one, February reading list, pick this guy up. Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carried. So I read this when it came out when I was in high school in 1990, and if you haven't read this one, it's hard to describe because it's part poetry, part memoir, part historical fiction, but spend some time with this novel and then go on and keep reading everything that O'Brien has written, because it's everything he does is absolutely fantastic. Dereliction of Duty. So this one comes from the reading list I was asked to put together for the SEAL teams, for the Naval Special Warfare Center, as I was getting close to getting out of the military. So I pick a couple books, or at least one, for my reading list each and every month from that list that I put together a few years back before I got out of the military. So Dereliction of Duty, H.R. McMaster, who went on to become the National Security Advisor. But read this. Anyone, well, all policymakers and anyone that has responsibility of sending men and women downrange, our sons and daughters into foreign countries, read this novel. It's surprising that H.R. McMaster made it to the general officer ranks after being so critical of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in this novel. This is about Vietnam, Lyndon Johnson, their failures as far as making strategic decisions during the Vietnam War. So read this one 100%, especially those going into the military and all those politicians that are responsible for sending our young men and women downrange. All right, for anyone who has not picked up Hemingway, it can be a little intimidating, I know, but read The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber. It's a short story. You can read it in under an hour for sure. Pour yourself a whiskey and spend some time with The Short Happy Life of Francis Macomber. I'm not going to ruin it for you, but suffice to say that there is intentionally not a comma between short and happy in this short story. So Ernest Hemingway is a great place to start. Now, this is one of my favorite books of the last few years, The Sun by Philip Meyer. I found this one randomly, started reading, and I was 100% hooked. This is one of those books that I wish I could read again for the first time. AMC did a series on it, and with Pierce Brosnan starring, and this book is amazing. There's a passage in here, I didn't mark it, but it stayed with me, and I'll read it right here. And it doesn't ruin anything, don't worry. It says, "When the sun came up, we discovered a boy of 9 years. We left him as a witness. At noon, we reached the river and saw the boy had followed us with his bow. For 20 miles, he had kept up with men on horseback. For 20 miles, he had been running to his death. A child like that would be worth 1,000 men today. We left him standing on the riverbank. As far as I know, he is looking for me yet." Read this book, you will not be able to put it down. The series they did on AMC was fantastic, so I recommend book first, series second. And then, last one for this month, book number 6 for February, The Winds of War, Herman Wouk. This is one of my top 5 books of all time, one of my top 5 most recommended books, and it's historical fiction and takes you from about 1939 up until Pearl Harbor, follows a family, the Henry family, and through their eyes, you learn about the lead up to World War II. So The Winds of War was a miniseries in the 80s as well, and that's how I was introduced to it. I was very young, watched that series, was completely enthralled, and then a few years later, I picked up the actual novel. So this should be read by everybody in middle school, high school, college. Pick this book up if you have not read it. Turn off the electronic devices and spend some time in these pages. You will learn a ton. And once again, The Winds of War by Herman Wouk. All right, that is almost everything. I'm getting a lot of questions about merchandise on the site. So that is at Jack CARR USA. You can link there from officialjackcarr.com as well. But all the merch is back up there, the coffee cups, hats, shirts, bookmarks, bottle breachers, and remember, all the profits go to veteran-focused foundations, and those foundations are highlighted on jackcarrusa.com. Last thing, True Believer, paperback, coming out February 25th. I'm so excited about this one because this time I appealed to the Department of Defense on their redactions from the hardback. So the hardback had 54 redactions, and by that I mean either a word, a sentence, a passage, paragraph that were taken out. And I appealed those 54 redactions and won 37 of them. So 37 of those redactions have been taken out of this novel. They are unredacted, so you can see what the government thought was so secret. And don't want to build it up too much because they are all publicly available from the government itself. I know you're not shocked, but didn't win 17, so there's still 17 things redacted in here. And if you read close, I am sure that you can figure out what those are. So True Believer, paperback edition, coming out February 25th. You can get it now, though you can pre-order it now. That is everything. Thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate all the support. Enjoy the reads, all of them, and I'll talk to you soon.